on this computer. So what I did last week, instead of pushing record on this computer, I pushed record on a cloud or something, and it got sent to my boss's computer, and she sent it to me, and I can't figure out how to get it put to the YouTube page. So I just said, forget it. I'll put my afternoon class on the YouTube page and just make a note that it's very similar to the morning class. That's that technology that I just love to talk so bad about, because it's honestly not the technology, it's me. It's that technology doesn't do wrong. It's the operator. But I just only, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm basically at a 3 of knowing what I'm doing. And a 3 is just about good enough to be scary.
If you're at a 3, I'm at a 2.
I'm at a -1.
We just like poke at buttons, like, wonder what this will happen. Wonder if what happens if I push this. And sometimes it works, and I don't know how I pushed the wrong button, but I did, and it'll be okay. It will be okay. So let's get started. We always start our class by walking and warming up our bodies, because we never want to exercise with cold muscles and set ourselves up for injury. I always think about a rubber band. If we were to take a rubber band and just real quick stretch it, then it would probably break. Now, it might not, but it would probably break. But if I took that same rubber band and I kind of gradually stretched and warmed up that rubber band and then stretched it out, it's less likely to break. And so that's kind of like our muscles. That's the best explanation that I can think of right now. So that's why we warm our bodies up. And we just do it by simply walking around, just moving our joints to get our bodies prepared for exercise. All right, I've got a little bit of adjustments to make on the camera. Oh, I think that may be it right there. So we start off by thinking about our body structure, and I have my feet about shoulder width apart, probably a little wider, wherever you feel most comfortable, but my weight's on both legs. Thinking about posture, we want that nice upright posture, like a string that pulls up and down at the same time. Nice relaxed shoulders. Something that I haven't talked about probably in a while is footwear when you do Tai Chi. And so this is a personal thing. However, we don't want to wear flip-flops or any like backless shoe. That's not a stable shoe. You can easily fall out of it or walk out of it. The shoes I like to wear are like a ballet flat. I got an extra pair in my bag right here. This is rubber on the bottom, and then it's kind of hard to see because it's all black, but it's just a ballet flat. There's not a lot of structure to it. Let me pull the shoe I have off. It's probably easier to see. Very flat rubber bottom. So it's almost like being barefoot because there's not a whole lot to the shoe. I like it because I feel very connected to the floor. When I wear really thick, cushy tennis shoes, I feel kind of disconnected from the floor. I'm more sitting on cushion than connections to where I'm standing. But it's personal preference.
So there's support on those shoes.
I'm going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
I would not call it support. Like here it's kind of but when I stand on it, this is exactly how flat it is. And you can see if I flatten out the shoe part, there is nothing to the shoe. You see that? Nothing.
Yeah.
Some people will say, I can't wear a shoe like that because I have high arches or, you know, I have, oh shoot, gosh, I can't think of what it is. Sometimes I used to get it.
Is it Achilles something? I'm not sure.
No, but I mean, there's lots of foot issues. For instance, I have a bunion on my left foot. And so I have to wear shoes that will accommodate that bunion and a wide foot, right? And so because these shoes are leather shoes, they mold to my foot. So they can handle my bunion and my wide foot. What I have experienced with these shoes that don't really have a lot of support that were built into the structure of the shoe is that my feet muscles got stronger. That's my experience. And that before, when I wore shoes with so much support, my foot relied on the shoe for the support. And when I stopped wearing shoes with support, my foot muscles got stronger. So I can stand here and I do the same thing. I lift weights. And when I lift weights, I wear a really flat shoe. There's more support in the arch of it, but the shoe itself is flat to ground me to the floor, and it's not thick. It's not a real thick bottom shoe. And then I feel connected to the floor versus to cushion. I can feel my feet grip the floor. I feel my toes gripping the floor inside of my shoe. But that's been my experience with making the muscles of my feet stronger. Some people wear those shoes that are like, you know, you wear them to the beach where they're rubber on the bottom and they just slip on like swim shoes. I don't know what they're called. You buy them at Walmart's during summertime. They don't cost that much money. But you know what I'm talking about, those water shoes. Some people wear those in Tai Chi. And that would have that similar, you know, knot structure of a shoe, but the rubber bottom to help grasp the floor. You know, you wouldn't want to wear a slippery shoe. I have some shoes in my closet that they're particularly boots. I wouldn't wear them to Tai Chi class, but they have a real slick bottom, and you wouldn't want to be shifting and transferring weight on a slick shoe that could get out from under you. Now, I'm on a carpet floor, but sometimes I do Tai Chi on a wooden floor or a linoleum floor. And so those are just things to take into consideration for safety. You don't want anything that you're going to slip. Obviously, that's a fall hazard. But in terms of shoes, we want to wear a whole shoe, not a backless shoe, not a flip-flop. You know, you could wear a sandal if it had the ankle strap where it wasn't flopping on your foot, if that helped you feel stable. But it's just something to think about, and I think something I forget to even mention. But the shoes I wear, there's just nothing to them. They're flat. This is a different shoe. This is actually made by Nike, and this is a shoe that is made to, if you take yoga, you put this little thing on, and it has a rubber on the bottom, and your toes would come out, and it straps on like that. That's for when you're in yoga class. And then when you go to your car after yoga class, the theory is you put this little ballet flat on top of it to go to your car. That's what these were designed for. But I typically will just wear this shoe. I just keep them in my Tai Chi bag in case I accidentally wear boots to work or something that's not Tai Chi appropriate. Typically, I just wear ballet flats, and I'm very connected to the floor. Okay. I think that's way more talking about shoes than necessary, but I want you to be comfortable and stable in your stance, but your shoes is what's grounding you to the floor. And so that's important in making sure that you that increasing your chances of not falling is what I'm trying to say. I've had instructors that wore big old thick New Balance, and that helped them feel stable and comfortable. So just the backless and the slippery slow sole thing are kind of deal breakers on shoes. All right, so nice stable stance. Let's start with our warm-ups. Remember that our goal is to breathe throughout our movements and not hold our breath. So let's bring our hands up towards our chin and chest, push away from our body, and follow those hands all the way down, chin to chest. Inhale at your own pace as we warm up that neck. Side to side, look towards that shoulder, really stretching the sides of our neck. Go until you feel that tension and then come back to front. So you're not necessarily going as far as you can go, just until you feel a slight stretch and then come back to front. Thinking slow, smooth, and continuous, even in our warm-up movements. Tend to get a little stuck on this one. I live with a stiff neck, and I think it's from driving and sitting at a desk and all the things that require our noggins. Let's rotate those shoulders forward and then back, just like a little massage we give ourselves, warming up our shoulders. Like to do things in threes. Excuse me, nose itches. And inhale up and push our hands as we exhale in front of us. Let's grab our ball, separating the heavens and earth as we stretch our spine. Come back to our ball and switch. Thing I encourage you to do is, as I watch myself in this video, to watch yourself in a mirror, or if you can on a video, just to see your hand placement, the way your feet are separated. And then as we move into our other movements, check and make sure you're keeping that upright posture and not leaning into your movement. It's amazing to see what we do, what our brains think we're doing, and what we're actually doing. Sometimes it doesn't match. I also really like this shirt because when I hold my ball, it looks like I'm holding that yin yang, and that's a pretty cool placement here. That was not intentional, by the way, just kind of happened. What was intentional is when we ordered the yin yang, these two dots, we put them this way and not this way, and y'all can figure out why. So y'all be thankful I thought about that. Just going side to side. And remember, again, we're not going as far as we can go. We're just doing a short side to side, stopping within our frame, warming up our spines horizontally. Now for our hips, so we're going to shift our weight, heel forward, hands back. This is where we really start that weight shifting, where it gets difficult. Sometimes we might need a chair or a table or a wall to rely on, and there's no shame in that. Just listening to our body's needs. Back to center, shift the weight, and heel forward, hands back. Pause, toe back, hands forward. So you see, we're doing 3, I like to think of them as leg swings. That's what it feels like, keeping that upright posture. But we do 3 in a row on each side. Now I'll tell you something, yesterday, for some reason, this left knee was hurting, and I went to do the first leg swing, and I said, oh, that didn't feel good. So what I did was shift the weight and do a leg swing on that other leg, and then shift the weight back and did the leg swing. So I went 1 on one side, 1 on the other side, and I did that back and forth until I had 3 on each side. See, 1 is to help teach us endurance of holding our weight on one leg as we do 3 leg swings on one side, and the other gives us more experience with weight shift. So both are the right way to do it. I did it instinctually because it hurt my knee to stay on that knee, so I gave it a break. So listen to your bodies as you go through the movements, and if something hurts, make an adjustment. Now we're going to shift our weight from one leg to the other, stacking our hands, keeping our bodies upright, shifting the weight, stopping at the edge of that frame, not leaning, and then tapping out. Bring it back, switch hands, shift, lift and tap. Shift, lift and tap. Make sure you're not holding tension in your shoulders. Just got to do a body check every now and again to make sure you're not holding tension, you're standing upright, you're breathing. It's just amazing how many different things that you can think about in a nice, slow, flowing movement. Now for our knees, got our loose fist, shifting the weight, lift, tap that toe out, punching opposite hand. Shift the weight, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift. Nice, easy, slow movement. Now we're going to step out, small step, shift, punch that opposite hand, leaving that back foot flat on the floor. Shift, step, shift and punch. Remember, we're keeping some weight still on that back foot. Not all the weight is shifting to the front, but we are keeping our bodies upright. Just turn to the side and I'll show you. See, my body's upright. It's not leaning into that punch. And I think that it would be a natural instinct to lean forward as we're punching forward and shifting weight forward. But keep in mind, any type of leaning you do is going towards falling, and that goes against what we're trying to do here. Even if you have great balance and you have no problems, you still can help yourself with balance. I would say I have really good balance, but It could be why, from practicing that upright posture, not leaning into movements that increases my chance of fall. Just as a way to practice good habits. All right, next is for our ankles. So we shift our weight to one leg, heel toe, just rocking that foot, working on that mobility of our ankle joint, bringing it back, shift, heel toe. Feel all those muscles probably in the bottom part of your legs specifically, and then shift and big toe, little toe. So we're doing some side to side ankle movements. Your ankles may feel a little stiff today, and that's okay. That's how we loosen them up, is by moving those joints and really warming them up as we get ready. But those ankles are a weight-bearing joint that often gets forgotten about. Shake it off a little bit, and we are going to do our basic 6 movements, mirror image. So we, of course, do commencement, open and close to the front, and then we single whip, wave hands and clouds to the right, with it open and close in the middle, and then single whip, waving hands and clouds to the left, open and close it out. And those are our basic 6 movements. As a reminder, what we talked about last week was with our hand movements. Don't cheat yourself out of any of it. When we come up, we're away from our bodies. Come down, we're still away from our bodies. Then come into our hips, up our bodies. I always think of an elevator coming up. And then we go out and back in. So don't forget, when you get here from coming up, that first movement, you're going to start to draw a U. Down, in, and up. See, to me, it's backwards, but whatever's helpful. Drawing that U, and then out and in. So I had one student that was skipping and going at an angle. So instead of going down and in, they were going angled to the hips. And then instead of going up and out, they were doing the angle thing again and going out. So don't cheat yourself out of that full movement. She was finding that she was ahead of me and couldn't figure out why. So we stopped and really broke down that movement. Sometimes when you get weeks and weeks and months into learning your Tai Chi, you start thinking, oh, I got this. I'm so smooth and continuous. Oh, I am a Tai Chi queen. Look at me. And then what you do in the name of continuous is skip parts of it. So just be conscious of that. It's always good to be reminded. I've been reminded about that empty step. So in commencement, because in the name of continuous, I was just stepping and immediately shifting the weight. Like I said, in the name of continuous, when we can't forget that is an empty step. When we take a step, we do not immediately put the weight there, but then we do. Bring that foot up, then adjust the weight to having both weight on both feet. So it's an empty step. As soon as we take it, then we give it the weight. All right, so let's do that commencement movement together. Getting yourself in that upright posture, weight on both legs, no tension, and let's begin. So our hands come up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. So when I'm thinking about weight shifting, my hands come down. That's when I weight shift to that right foot. When I step left, empty step, no weight on it right away. I give it weight as my hands go out. So see, the weight goes forward and the hands go out at the same time. I bring that right foot forward, no weight on it just yet. It's when I bring my hands back that I adjust the weight to now I have weight on both legs. So an immediate step, no weight. Then give it weight. Bring the foot forward, then give it weight. Just keep that in mind, and the more you practice it, the more you'll do it the right way. And commence. Hands up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Let's do it without me talking. And commence. Open, close. Practice again. Commence. I know it's the first movement. We're like, we're done with that first movement, but it's just good to revisit it and make sure we're not creating any bad habits. Again, and let's add our single whip to it. So we're going to single whip to the right. Commence. Open, close. Single whip to the right. So we shift right. No, sorry, we shift left, step right, push, turn, separate. I was following that left hand, but both hands separate. You should really feel that chest open up, and you should feel the stretch of the muscles in your back and in your shoulders whenever you open both of those hands out. So right now our weight is on both legs. When we finish that whip, when we get to the end of it, that's when we shift left, bring that right foot, right hand back. So my eyes are following, and they are on this left hand as I finish that single whip movement. So again, coming from open and close, single whip, shift, step right, push, turn, separate, following that left hand, shift, bring that right foot, right hand back. Open and close, shift left, step right, adjust weight, push, turn, separate, following that left hand. Shift left, bring that right foot, right hand back. So now we're ready for waving hands and clouds and the 4 words that we've been talking about. Step and switch, turn and shift. 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 And last one, step and switch, turn and shift, and then come back to the middle for open and close. Now to the left side, we shift right, step left, adjust the weight, push, turn, separate, following that right hand. Shift right as that left foot, left hand come back. Ready for Waving hands in clouds, and our 4 words right here. Step and switch, turn and shift. 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 And to the middle for open and close. Close it out. That's our basic 6. Now on the turn, remember it's a torso movement. It's not a hand movement, it's a torso movement. The hands are going along for the ride with the torso move. When I get to the end, when I get to the edge of my frame, when I get over to this hip, that's when my hands move. Then my body takes over. Turn, switch, turn. So it's a torso movement. The hands are just going along for the ride. Just like when we do our spinal warm up and we're holding our ball, we go side to side. We switch our hands at the end of that movement, switch, and the torso moves. So just get used to that torso moving side to side. If you want to be at kind of a next level, think about moving from your belly button or your dantian. So think tightening up your core muscles, and your belly button is guiding that movement. Your belly button guides that movement with those muscles being tightened here. So that's a way to increase the muscle use as you do your waving hands in clouds movements. Moving with that dantian or your belly button, the muscles that are in that area. Whatever you feel most comfortable calling it. So let's just practice that a couple times, and then we'll start with brush knee. All right, here we go. And commence. Open, close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. I did one too many. Sorry about that. And open and close. Close it out. One more time. And commence. Hands come up, down, shift right. Step left, hands come in and up. Shift left as those hands go out. Right foot forward, hands come back, open and close. Single whip, shift left, step right, adjust weight, push, turn, separate, following that left hand. Shift left, bring that right foot, right hand back, waving hands in clouds. Step and switch, turn and shift. Step and switch, turn and shift. Step and switch, turn and shift. Step and switch, turn and shift, step and switch, turn and shift, step and switch, turn and shift, and to the middle for open and close. Single whip, shift right, step left, push, turn, separate, following that right hand. Shift right, bring that left foot, left hand back, waving hands and clouds. Step and switch, turn and shift. 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 Last time, step and switch, turn and shift, and to the middle for open and close. Close it out. Basic 6. Now, if you were to do what Dr. Lamb calls seated Tai Chi, it is those basic 6 seated. So you can engage your legs by pushing those feet into the floor as if you were shifting weight as a standing Tai Chi person. Shift back and forth from leg to leg, engaging those muscles as you go through the hand movements, just as we did in standing. So if you hear about Dr. Lamb's seated Tai Chi, it's the basic 6 movements. Standing, we have advanced 6 movements. And the first one in our advance is brush knee. Now, first, like in our basic 6, when we get to single whip and waving hands and clouds, we go to the right first, and then we go to the left. In our advanced movements, we go to the left first and then to the right. So it's opposite. So the first movements we'll do will be going this way. The first movement, single whip, starts out facing forward, and by the end of the movement, we'll be facing to the left. Now, we can't just jump because that's not Tai Chi of us. So we have to do some configuring with our feet and our legs and our weight shift. Sorry, I had to do a time check, make sure I was doing good on time. So what we're going to do, just thinking about our feet, is, oh, I'm out of practice of doing this in mirror image. So I have to remind myself that we're going to the left. And what I do is shift left and turn my right toe in. So maybe you can see that. My shoes are the same color as the carpet. Let me take them off. I'm doing this because I see there's nothing on this floor that can hurt my feet. Otherwise, barefoot's not really a good idea, especially if you're not familiar with what's on the floor. People who have diabetes, especially, you have neuropathy, and sometimes you lose the feeling in your feet. And so you could step on a tack and not even know it because you don't have the feeling there. And if somebody that is diabetic gets a sore on their foot, anywhere on your extremities, but especially your feet, because they're so far from your heart, they're the furthest from your heart, you don't heal as quickly. And you can easily get infection, which can lead to amputation. Like, it's bad. So, don't take barefoot just for granted because bad things can happen if you have problems. If you're a diabetic, if you have problems with neuropathy, just simply stepping on something sharp can put you in a bind. So I'm doing this because my shoes are the same color as the floor, and I want y'all to be able to see that when I shift the weight left, turn my right toe in, so you can see that better. When I think about my right toe pointing or turning, I think of it as an arrow, reminding me that we're going in that direction. When I pivot that foot, I keep my heel on the floor. So here's my floor, here's my foot. When I turn it, my heel is still connected to that floor. So I haven't picked it up and turned it. I've all my weight's on this left foot, but I pivot that foot and turn that toe towards that direction. Now, if that hurts your knee, don't do this. Don't hurt yourself. Don't put yourself in pain. What you can do is step out a little bit as you turn that foot. So shift the weight to that left foot and step out with the right. You see, it's still at that angle, but I've widened my stance a little bit. Then I can shift the weight to my right foot, and then I step with my left towards that wall. So I'm going to the left. So the nature of the foot is shift left, right toe in, even if you're stepping out, but that right toe points towards the direction we're going. Now I shift the weight to my right foot, freeing up my left foot to step. Now I do what's called a prepare step. So I come back and then step towards the left, towards that left wall. So you see now why we turned that right toe in is because this is a lot more comfortable than if I were to have left it facing straight. Now you can try it. I felt it really pull on my hips whenever I kept that foot forward. But if this is more at that angle, when I turned it in, when I take that step towards the wall, here I'm in that staggered stance, that nice stable stance to continue my movements to the left. Okay, does that make sense as far as the movement of your feet? You might want me to move my camera to my feet. Hopefully you can see them pretty good. So I'm shifting left, right toe in, shift right, prepare and step, shift and follow step. So you see what I did on that follow step? I didn't really step. To me, this is one of the things that makes these advanced movements unnatural. I don't want to call it difficult. We can do these, but it's unnatural in this way. So when we walk, we step, shift, and then our next step is out forward. Shift, and then our next step is out forward. Shift, out forward. So that's how we typically walk. But in our advanced movements, we step, shift, and then the follow step foot is still going to be behind. It's not going to be up here like you might feel natural to do. It's going to be step, shift, and follow step. So I basically picked that foot up and almost put it exactly down where it was. That's the follow step. When I follow step, I do not give weight to that foot. And that's going to be true on all the rest of the movements in our advanced 6. Anytime I say follow step, anytime we make that follow step, no weight goes on that foot. The weight remains on the non-follow step foot. Why? Because the follow step foot is the next foot that moves, the next foot that steps. We cannot step a foot without taking the weight off of it. So the follow step foot, no weight. The follow step foot is the next step in our movement. Footwork of brush knee. Shift left, right toe in. Shift right, prepare the left, step left, shift, follow step right. Again, we're going from facing forward to facing to our left by nature of weight shift and moving our feet. So we shift left, right toe in, shift right, prepare, step left, shift, and follow step. You see my heels all the way to the ground, even though there's no weight on it. I don't have that heel up. I have the heel down. That grounds me in the movement, allows me to stay upright. If I were to lift my foot off the floor, it kind of pushes my body forward. Even if I intentionally keep my upper body upright, shift here versus here. See, I'm grounded. I'm more stable whenever my heels are down. Same thing when we did that knee exercise. We kept that back heel on the ground as we shifted forward and back. If we were to lift it off, here I leaned forward in that movement. Just things to keep in mind and make good habits from the start. So keep that upright posture throughout. It's just nature to, when we weight shift, to lean into the weight shift. So practice it by keeping the upright posture. Practice the weight shift and still remaining upright. Footwork of brush knee. Shift left, right toe in. Shift right, prepare and step left, shift left, follow step right. Where's your weight? Left foot. Why? Because the right foot steps next. And it's going, just to give you a preview, it's going to step back. We make all these steps really small. If I were to have stepped, shift, follow stepped, and I was wide, then when I went, then I would, if I were to go now and try to step back, then I'd be way too far apart. So don't feel like you're not doing something just because your steps are small. Keep them small. Of course, we don't want them so close that we're not stable. That's not our goal. We want to be about hip width or a little wider than hip width, whether we're open side to side or even in a staggered stance. We don't want to go much further than our frame. That's for stability reasons. All right, again, footwork for brush knee. Shift left, right toe in. Shift right, prepare, step left, shift, and follow step. Any questions about brush knee footwork? All right. Time check. Okay. Preview for handwork. We're coming from open and close. I can come a little closer because we're just talking about handwork. Our hands are coming from open and close. So when we bring that right foot in, we're going to reach our right hand out, and our left hand is going to come down to protect our elbow. So it looks here and reach, protect the elbow. Here. Reach, protect the elbow. That's the movement that happens when you turn that right toe in. So it looks like this. Shift left, right toe in and reach. That's the beginning of brush knee. All right, so we know what's going to happen to our feet next is we're going to shift right, and we're bringing that left foot back. I called it prepare. This left hand is going to come down to my hip. So when I brought that left foot back, my left hand is going to go to my hip, looking like this. Shift, right toe in and reach. Shift right, left foot, prepare. So that right hand stayed out front. Now I'm going to step left, and we know we're going to shift left. This right, or I'm going to shift, I'm going to shift left. This right hand is going to come back, and it's going to push, and then follow step. Oh, those shoulders. I got a workout sitting there holding my hands up. So here's what your hands look like. From open and close. Reach. Separate. And push. Follow step. So you're going from the front to the left. Here's the movement together. Brush knee. Shift left, right toe in and reach. Shift right, separate, prepare. Step, shift as I push and follow step. That is brush knee. So we'll work more on that next week. Don't get stressed out. These are advanced movements. They're complicated. We'll take our time with them, okay? So just think about them. Practice if you can. Let's give ourselves a little fist massage. We'll get there. And if we need to go back to our basic 6, there's no problem with that. We want to get what we can out of the movement. We don't want to rush and try to do too many things. Let's make tension, and no, we don't want to live there. Let it go. Gather, release. Gather, release. Gather, release. Big circle. Up, palms up, and push down. Inhale up and down. One more. You take our right fist, that represents our strength. Our left fingers together represents our friendship. Our thumb in, our humility. So we put those together, and in mutual respect, we say, Namaste. So I'm glad to have you back, Miss Sharita.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing you in person on Thursday. But we'll be back here next Tuesday.
Sure thing.
Let me know if you need anything between now and then, okay?
Okay, Jennifer. Thank you
All right.
so much.
You're welcome. Love you, Miss Sharita.
Love you more.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.